Hi everybody, it's John back again with another model inbox review. Today we're looking at the Lockheed SR-71A Blackbird. This is an aircraft which is absolutely iconic. There's nothing like it anywhere in the world, and the aircraft speaks for itself pretty much. A very, very successful spy plane platform. The aircraft was utilised by the USAF throughout the throughout the 1970s, 1980s and 1990s, and there are rumours that the aircraft was actually used right up through until about the middle of the noughties. Um, the aircraft had a 100% non-accident, either fatal or non-fatal, and the aircraft was never intercepted by any Air Force's interception units anywhere in the world during the aircraft's operational flying career. But which aircraft are we talking about? Which company's model are we talking about? Well, we're talking about this one. This is a company called Silvercorn. They're based in China, and this model was released once and only once in the mid 1990s. The kit is actually a standalone kit. It's never been repop by anybody else, and it's incredibly cheap to acquire and very easy to build. I'm not expecting this kit to take very long to build whatsoever. And I'll talk about that in the conclusions later. So that's the Silvercorn kit. It was released only once in the 1990s, and we'll just leave you with a nice image of an SR-71. This is a picture of the aircraft. I believe it's somewhere over the Nevada desert, but I'm not 100% sure. Probably near the Skunk Works. But I just think this picture is really nice, and it just lends the Blackbird's shape very, very nicely indeed. So let's have a look at this kit, because this kit is actually quite interesting. We'll just bring the camera down. There we go. Let's see if I can get this to reach down, which we should be able to. There we go. And it should give you a nice image. So this is the boxing. The actual image on the front of the box is pretty dire, isn't it? It makes the kit look terrible. There's no real enticing there for you to actually, get hold of this kit. But as I said before, it's very cheap, very easy to acquire. You can usually get it on the second-hand market. On the back, you've got a different image of the same kit, of the same aircraft flying over in a different direction over the it looks like the Utah mountains there, doesn't it? And it always makes me laugh here because it says colours and shapes may vary. Yeah. So on the side of the box, there's no real interesting information on there whatsoever. The kit's model number is 50373, made in China. You've got the recyclable logo there, and it's recommended for children over the age of 3. Set contains one unassembled model kit and easy to follow instructions, paint and glue required to complete this kit. Paint and glue, easy to follow instructions. Well, yeah, you'll see that about that in a minute. Let's open the box and have a look and see what we've got inside, because what we have inside is really quite interesting. It's all sealed in the box. There are a couple of parts which are loose in the bag, which is all right. But it is sealed in the box. I have checked through the packaging, and all the parts are definitely here. So yeah, let's just get these parts out so we can have a look at them, and then we'll have a look at the instructions in a minute. Yeah, interesting. This is an interesting kit indeed. Just take a couple of seconds to get these parts out so that we can have a look at them properly. There are a couple of things about these kits that I quite like. That Silvercorn kits I quite like. Everything goes into a bag, which is fair enough. And usually I show the instruction leaflet pretty straight away. It's an A4 size piece of paper, as you can see, and on the top you've got the mark Blackbird, and on the bottom you've got the Silvercorn logo there, and basically an exploded view of how to build the kit. You've also got a paint plan in the top, not a paint plan, a parts plan at the top also as well, and I'm a great fan of these, as you guys know. I think it's nice that if you can't see the part numbers on the parts, it's nice to see what the part numbers actually are on the sprue and where they are, which is good. Not a lot to this kit, as you can see. You basically assemble the interior, and this is where I fall down over the easy to follow instructions, because basically it's a stream of instructions. You start off with the interior, and then they show you the interior put together, and then you put the fuselage halves over the top, forward section and the rear section. They're in two separate parts here. And then in section 2 you've got the image of what section 1 should leave you with, but you don't put these two parts together here yet. You assemble the rest of the airframes in the engine intakes before you put all that together. And in section 3 you put the airframe together, but you put... It's very important to understand how Silvercorn plans work. You don't do anything unless there's an arrow for you to do something with. Can you see how you've got arrows to put the cockpit interior in there, then arrows to put the fuselage half down, then you've got arrows to assemble this and then pop them into the lower section of the rear fuselage, but there's no arrows telling you to put the upper fuselage down onto the lower fuselage. And there still isn't, because you have to put this baby into the lower half of the rear wing section, and then you put the upper wing section over the top of the whole assembly. And that's my issue with Silvercorn instructions. They're not easy to follow until you understand the way that they stream. Then in section 5 you're putting the exhaust pipes and tail fins into place. Then in section 6 the undercarriage, and then the undercarriage doors and the canopy in section 7. And then section 8 just shows you what the kit should look like when it's finished. There's no paint guide to this kit whatsoever. And there's no decals to this kit whatsoever, but the parts are interesting. We'll start off with the transparency, because the transparency is always something quite interesting for you guys to look at. As you can see, it's not much to write home about, is it? It's what it is. It's just a piece of clear plastic that represents a canopy, and the interesting thing about that is quite a lot of that canopy is going to have to be painted, but there's no paint guide on the kit whatsoever. There's no lithograph plan or anything whatsoever. You also have with Silvercorn kits, and I'm going to talk about this in the conclusions, you have two parts in light grey plastic which are a stand. You just put them together either that way round or that way round, and you clip the kit into the top lug on the stand and mount your kit so that it's flying. Now then, two black sprues. Just get these loose parts separate here, because it's nice to know where they are, isn't it? Right. You have a couple of air intakes, which are these two parts. Can you see that? Again, not much to write home about. There's no detail, they're just complete tubes, both sides, and the conical air intake cones, which again are just black cones with a locating lug there, as you can see there. Can you see that? Yeah. So again, there's two of those, one each side, as you'd expect. We'll have a look at the fuselage in a minute. Yeah. On the small sprue, you've got all the undercarriage legs. And you can see they're not badly moulded. They're not great, but they're not terrible. They're okay, aren't they? That's the nose wheel, the one with the extra leg at the back. And then you've got all the undercarriage doors, the tail fins there, which are okay. Then you've got your seats. Not sure how accurate those are, but yeah, you're not going to see an awful lot in there anyway. There's the jet exhaust pipes, which they're what they are as well. They're not particularly fantastic, they're not well detailed, they're okay. A little bit of detail on these tail fins, which is quite interesting. A little bit of raised, are they raised? Or no, actually they're recessed. They're recessed panel lines on this kit, which is interesting. And then you've got the interior bathtub, which again, I'm not sure how accurate that is, but there you go. That's what it is, isn't it? And then you've got the fuselage halves. Now on the inside, there's no detail whatsoever that you wouldn't expect for a scale 288 scale kit of this type. But it's not, it's not an inaccurate kit. It's actually quite an accurate kit for what it is. And I think, this is something else that Silvercorn get absolutely raped for, over the fact that their detail is terrible. The accuracy of the kits are terrible. Well, I don't think they are. I mean, for the scale it is, I mean, these lines here, they'll probably need a little bit of sanding down. But the kit itself it's all right. And I think, if you mount it on its stand with wheels up, I think it'll look all right. As for the paint plan, the kit is completely matte black. But you will of course need some gloss varnish to enhance the areas where you're going to put decals, and you're going to have to find your own decals, because as you can see there's no decals in this kit. So what we'll do is we'll just put the parts back in here, because I don't want to lose any of these parts. I think if you lost some of these parts it would be a nightmare trying to get replacements for them, and probably cheaper just to buy another kit anyway. So we'll put these parts back into the bag and try and repack this kit back up, so that you've got an image of the box to have a look at whilst I go through all this gum. As I said, this video shouldn't take very long, because there's not many parts to the kit whatsoever, is there? So anyway, we'll put these back in here, and there we go. Instructions. Back into the box, and the box is, come on, there you go, let's put that together again, and there's your image on the front. So what are we looking at here? Well, we're actually looking at a Silvercorn Lockheed SR-71A Blackbird. Its serial number is 50373 and its release date was early to mid 1930s. The kit is moulded in 1/288 scale and comprises of 31 parts on 2 black plastic sprues, 2 parts loose in light grey plastic, and a clear part totaling 34 parts in total. The dimensions of the kit are about 7 3/4 inches long. It should be about 4 inches in wingspan and should sit about 3 3/4 inches high on its stand. Now the options and the costs, I haven't gone bananas, I've only gone with the small scales, but the small scales are quite interesting. In 1/700 scale, you can get an SR-71 as part of a modern US aircraft set. It includes a V-22B Osprey, an FA-18 Hornet, an A-10 Thunderbolt II, an F-35 Lightning II, an F-22 Raptor, a U-2 and an SR-71 Blackbird, and these are released by Pit Road, and they retail for about £25 to £30 on average. In 1/288 scale, there are 3 standalone kits, one from Ace Hobby for about £4 to £10, one from Idea, I've got no pricing on that, and the Silvercorn kit, I've seen it go as cheap as 50p, but it's usually about £1 to £5. There are repops in 1/288 scale. Ace Corporation did a rebox of the Ace Hobby kit for about £10 to £20. Hobbycraft did a rebox of the Idea kit for about £40. Revell did a repop of the Ace Hobby kit for about £10 to £12. And Sukuda Hobby did a rebox of the Ace Hobby kit, no prices available for that. In 1/235 scale, there are 2 SR-71 Blackbirds, one from HE Hexing, which is a 4D puzzle kit. These are quite dear actually, for about £32 to £35, and Paget Brothers brought the Snap-Tight kit out with no pricings available on that. In 1/220th scale, there's an SR-71 Blackbird in a 4D Master 4D puzzle kit, rated at about £30 to £38, and in 1/184th scale, there are 2 SR-71 standalone kits. One is by Fader Zyder, no price available on that, and the other one is a pretty terrible Lindbergh kit for 7 to 12 quid. Lindbergh Nicomesa and Lindbergh Venezuela also repopped the Lindbergh kit, no pricings available on those. In 1/150th scale, there's a YF-12A, quite a rare kit, so I'm guessing it would go for quite a lot of money, but I've not seen any pricings available online for this by Nishikiya. And in 1/144 scale, there are standalone kits from Ace Hobby Kits for £15 to £20. Dragon do one for about £20 to £25. There's a complete PE kit by Jasmine Model for about £63. Kitech, LS and S-Mars also did a standalone kit with the Blackbird, all with no pricings available. However, there are reboxings of the LS kits by AMT and ERTL, and RI also did the rebox of the LS kit. And also Platts do a rebox of the Dragon kit at about £20 to £25. There's no pricings available for either of the reboxed LX kits. In 1/110th scale, Monogram did an SR71 Blackbird for £12 to £30, and the SR71A Blackbird by Revell was a reboxed Monogram kit, and I've seen this go as cheap as 3 up to about 30 quid. There are also a number of kits which aren't built to scale. They're quite rare, but there are a couple that you can get quite easily. The SR71 Blackbird by Academy, no pricings available on that. There's an Aoshima kit, again with no pricings available on that. But Aoshima also released a warplane set which contains an SR71, an FA-18 Hornet, a Sea Harrier and a Tu-26 Backfire. No pricings available on those. The SR71 Blackbird from SD's Industries Limited, I've got no pricings on those. Fascinations do a Metal Earth kit for about £15 to £20 of the SR71 Blackbird. And New Ray do an SR71 Blackbird for about £16. There's also a Revell kit in a mini kit snap type model, which is about £5.50. And you can still sometimes get this in model shops today quite easily. The SR71 Blackbird by Inair EZ Build is a Reebox New Ray kit, and again I've got no pricings on those. Conclusions. Well, the sprue in this kit is like all other Silvercorn kit contents, not bad but not good either. It will build very quickly, but I think these kits are good for restoring your mojo, or maybe using as paint mules. They also make pretty good desktops or tabletop models for your office or study. They do not come with any decals, so you'll have to either buy aftermarket or source them from your decal stash. But as with the last Silvercorn kit I built, it should be a bit of fun, so I'm going to have a really good go at it. Anyway, that's the video finished, the inbox review for the Silvercorn SR71A Blackbird. I hope it's been of use, and if you have any queries, questions, just pop them in the comments, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you again for the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.